There we go. Oh, I see you.
Yeah, it's connectivity. Something's going on today,
It
apparently.
happens. My camera goes in and out. Oh,
Okay.
It's still working. Good.
All right.
In the first quarter. All right, here we go. We'd like to, I guess, discuss the goals and accomplishments of the CDFI program. Uh, get the data, the raw data, uh, specifically about the 24 million that's already been loaned in Fort Worth. And then we'd like to discuss more effective ways for residents and organizations to engage and apply. And
Okay.
I can
Did you say
repeat
she?
all, and I can repeat all
Yeah,
of that again. And I think
absolutely.
I just
So
want to
she's
give
waiting to be let in, she
got
said.
her. Just
Got her?
saw it.
Okay. All right.
All right. And we're ready.
So I'll go ahead and
Mhm.
kick off. I see she's trying to connect. So
Yep. Her mic is active. We can see, and she's about to get video.
all right. Good deal. So I'll try to give you uh the summarization, Lawrence, rather than the full 2 year build out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
CDFI. So it's a different model. I'm not certain you may be familiar with the CDFI industry in and of itself. You know, in just it's the second tier of treasury based organizations that were to fill gaps for the lack of lending to underserved and undercapitalized communities.
Right.
Um, been in existence for many years, long before we came into existence here at CDFI Friendly. This platform, as you might have been in the early discussion when it was being launched in the late 21, 22 timeframe by the group out of Philadelphia in conjunction with the city, essentially we're tasked to be a lending partner within the CDFI industry. And I preface that by saying our goal, Stephanie and I, is to build relationships with known CDFIs that exist West Coast, East Coast, no matter where they are, who have an interest in lending in the Fort Worth marketplace in the underserved areas, but either do not have a physical presence or any presence at all, regardless of whether it's Fort Worth or DFW or you name it. There are some that are operating today in some capacity, predominantly as you might expect in Dallas, or there's one or two that have a operations person in Arlington. The ones you know of that are in Fort Worth are William Mann Community Development Corp. And those that exist in the business assistant or D. Jennings facility, which it's called, as you know, today. There's a few of them that operate in there, but the goal overall for CDFI Friendly, as it was built, was to be a conduit between those who weren't here, but have expressed an interest to want to do business in Fort Worth. Of course, it was funded by the city of Fort Worth through the ARPA funding process, as they did for many organizations. So capitalization comes from there first. It's our goal, my goal, to find additional capital from either foundations, traditional financial institutions, or others, which is can be an arduous task. The CDFI industry, in and of itself, fights to gain capital outside of known government portals. So we get, though we're a beneficial arm to many of the traditional financial institutions, most, if not, I can't say all, but many of the majors have relationships with CDFIs across the country for CRA purposes. Um, and yet we go back to the saying, we being the CDFI industry, oftentimes tap into successfully or unsuccessfully traditional financial institutions for
I'm sorry.
additional operating.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think I understand what you're saying there.
So you got all that? Okay.
And just to go ahead and jump ahead, though, um,
Yeah.
how has that benefited us so far?
So you mentioned the 24 million that was probably mentioned in the presentation that I made to City Council. Oh, it's been a couple months now. So as I indicated, we're a liaison to those entities. So that 24 million includes those that do just mortgages, which there are a few in the marketplace. There's one specifically based in Hearst, that all they are is mortgage lenders. There's others that do consumer only. And then there's a broader group that looks at commercial development opportunities, small business in particular. And so that 24 million represents activity that they have engaged in with lending within Fort Worth based upon the zip codes laid out by city council, et cetera.
What are the names of the individuals and the businesses that got the 24 million?
I mean, that's a long sheet. If they're mortgages, they're under disclosures. Those entities that do mortgages, they're held to the same standards as financial institutions in terms of giving out information on individuals, et cetera, et cetera. We have the numerical data.
Yep.
We don't have the specific individuals, if you will, because they're mortgage loans.
So how do we verify? So we have 24 million. You're telling me, Glenn, that we have the $24 million that they're talking about on the website is mortgage loans? Is that what you're saying?
It's a combination of mortgages.
How much? You can tell me the number. 24 million, 20 million, 16 million, 12.
I don't have that figure in front of me at the moment of what the major concentration of that 24 million is in the mortgage arena. A year ago when rates were starting,
and what zip code? So what zip code?
They use the zip codes given by city council districts. So
you have those available to you?
City council district zip codes. No, I don't have them in front of me.
How do you propose that how does this 24 million, I think we're going to get off this 24 million for a minute. Yeah, I think we're going to need to circle back to that. Glenn, so when we're talking, and I just want to throw this out there, numbers, data, and they gave you the $24 million number. How many of those people are Black?
We don't track that at CDFI friendly.
So then how do you know that you're helping?
These are separate entities, Lawrence.
Okay.
That are CDFI entities. They specifically lend. We're not lending their money.
We understand that.
They report their data and they're not mandated to do so. So let me first put that out. Our job is to connect with the known lenders, and we've requested over time that they share their data with us. We can't verify.
So you can give us numbers and we can't verify anything. So that's what I'm going to walk away with. That answer is you can tell us any number and then we can't verify anything, and we'll leave that there.
I'm not, Lawrence. What we gather is the way the model is built. We get metrics from the entities that are lending. They use specific zip codes that were given to them by the city of Fort Worth.
Yeah, you've said this all before, Glenn.
Based upon council district zip codes, and those zip codes that are undercapitalized, underserved. So aside from that, there's no other way for us to capture and verify. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you. I'm not.
Dude, it's your rabbit hole. So let's go on with the next. You're telling me that we're not going to get any data.
I think if you want data,
yes, sir.
I think you can ask your council person. You can ask the city for it and see what they'll give you.
Okay.
It's no different than any other data. It's done again. What I'm sharing is if it's mortgage loans, the entities that do the mortgage.
So do you work with the Economic Development Department in the city of Fort Worth?
No, we don't do much with them. They were initially involved in setting this up.
Diversity and inclusion, do you work with them?
They were involved with setting the entity up.
Hey, Stephanie, real quick, what businesses are you developing right now?
Hi, Lawrence. I'm Stephanie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So I jumped in a little late. I couldn't find it. I'm confused on the setting of this meeting and what the point is, not to be rude. Can you give me a little background on you? And I know
It's in the
you guys-
email. It's in the email.
Right,
I
I
can
did,
read. I can read it to you. Is that what you like for me to do?
No. Stephanie, just a sec. Let me show you how Stephanie's our business development manager, Lawrence.
Would you like me to
When you
read that
say
email?
we're a lender, we're a participating lender to attract CDFIs. So when you say development, for that question to Stephanie, who's my right-hand staff person, what do you mean in the terms of development?
She's
We're a
the
lender.
business develop. Here, let me just read it.
Right.
She's a
right. So
business
she works
development
with-
manager.
She works with CDFIs, and
Okay.
we work with clients to identify clients through our application portal. So when somebody's interested in applying for a potential loan, they come through our portal. We then, with Stephanie's support and mine, try to match them with known CDFIs who lend in that particular space.
And how many have you
Those
had?
CDFIs, then it's incumbent upon, they then work with the clients moving forward to gather whatever data is necessary to make a lending decision or not.
And how many do you have? How many are active now, clients?
I'm just
We
not
don't
sure
track
that I could
active-
disclose
we
this
track-
information. I don't, that's the point that I don't understand. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On moving forward with things like this. I read your email. I understand what you stand for, but and at what point would I, in my business, disclose anybody's personal information to you?
Okay, I think we finally got to where we need to be. So let me be clear. We would like to discuss the goals and accomplishments of the CDFI program. You cannot. We would like to
That's not
review the
true.
data.
That's not true.
Oh, what
Lawrence,
goal?
that's not true.
Let's do it.
Lawrence, that's not, you
I'm
know what,
listening.
Lawrence?
I'm listening.
I think we're gonna have to have another
listening.
conversation because you're
listening.
taking an approach, you're taking an approach, Lawrence, that's not appropriate for this introductory meeting with you. This is not what you're going down a rabbit hole of wanting to do whatever you are to see. We're not counting numbers. We're giving you data. We can tell you how we operate. We can tell you about CDFI friendly. We can tell you how we operate. But what you're looking for is something very different. And all I can say is, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, if you want to go down a rabbit hole of validating whether numbers are accurate, so on and so forth,
Yes,
if you
I
want
do
to
want
do
to go
that, I
down
say
that
talk
road.
with the
That is
economic
one rabbit
development.
hole I would like to.
Talk
You
with
are
the
correct.
economic development department then. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay, and then so like I was just saying, we wanted to discuss the goals and accomplishments of the CDFI program. He just went on a rant, but he didn't share any. We would like to review the data. It's not available. And we would like to discuss more effective ways for residents and organizations to engage and apply. So I personally applied for 10 or 12 different organizations in 2021, and I didn't get a response from any.
Why would you think that would be the case? 10 different organizations such as
was-
CDFIs?
No, it was your website.
We're only one organization. So
No,
when you say
I personally, let me rephrase. I, as a consultant, filled out the application for more than a dozen individuals on the CDFI website. And
Okay.
neither I or any of those individuals received anything from your office. Did I make myself clear when I just said that?
You said in
I understood you
2021?
very clearly. Sarcastically or not, I understood you very clearly.
Perfect. So we'll say this one more time.
So if you listened earlier, Lawrence, instead of trying to get ahead and set your own agenda, if you listened, what happens is when applicants come through, they get triaged to a CDFI. It's then incumbent upon that CDFI to follow up with those clients. Stephanie and I would not necessarily know at that point, unless we're working directly with the client as well, which oftentimes we're not. We don't know if you've been contacted. But if you reach back to us and say, Glenn, or Stephanie, we've reached out on numerous occasions. We've not heard from anyone. Our job then is to find out why. So,
Glenn,
but
we've reached out. We've not heard from anyone.
okay, thank you. Well, you're just telling us that. But those individuals that apply, they're not going to reach out. If you submitted their names, then we need to know who they are. And Stephanie and I can follow up and see where they were triaged to and why they weren't responded to. That's what we can do on our
And
side.
I can tell you that I was not here in 2021, which is
I recognize that. I recognize that.
So anything right now, the relationships and networking that I have that have come in the past year, I can tell you they have been contacted because I am CC'd on those. So if
Okay.
it's something that reapply, I mean, honestly.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I can do that. If
Okay.
you have a list of stuff, I'd suggest, can you write out a formal, request, and we will get to it and look at it. Again, you bombarded and hit us with a bunch of questions at once,
Okay,
I don't
now
know
Stephanie, I'm going to
anything.
stop you. This is the only time I'm going to stop you.
Mhm.
These are the exact same questions I've been asking since I reached out for you since December. There is no bombarding. You guys with, the gaslighting that you do, it doesn't help us build.
Lawrence, nobody's gaslighting.
Bombarding. It's bombarding.
Lawrence,
I'm asking the
Lawrence, you
same
have an
three
agenda that's
questions.
not beneficial for this discussion. And if you can't stay focused on what we do and our ability to help you, then we're going down a rabbit hole that we're not going down with you. Because you've got a different agenda than what this meeting was set for. If you have individuals that have applied, they've not been responded to, what we've just shared is we'd be happy to find out what happened and find out where they go. But other than that,
and so do I wait for you to respond, or do I
that's the
send
only
you
thing
an
you
email?
can do, Lawrence. We have to do due diligence
That's
because
fine.
we don't know where they were
That's
triaged,
fine.
when they were sent out, when the information was received. And
Right.
that's the role that we play as CDFI Friendly Fort Worth. We've got to figure out where the gap fell, where the hole fell through relative to the CDFIs, if they received the information, and if they didn't, why not? And if they did, why haven't they responded?
And just for clarity, my personal agenda is I would like to be an equity facilitator for businesses, underserved businesses receiving CDFI money. My agenda is to get underserved businesses and individuals funded through CDFI. My agenda is to get small businesses and individuals funded through CDFI.
Okay, so we're all on the same page then, because that's why we were built.
Bravo.
So you're no different than anyone else that interfaces with us.
Thank you. I appreciate
But the approach that you're taking is not of a way to say, I'm trying to help. You're trying to take a whole different approach.
Emailing in December and saying, hey, I'd like to meet with you, and then waiting 2 weeks and then reaching out to you, and then going to the city council and then looking for your phone number, and then finally having someone reach back to me in February and say they can't meet till March, and then finally waiting for this meeting today is me being unreasonable.
It's just amazing you say that, because I don't have that problem with anyone else. We've not had that problem with anyone else. And we don't have any particular agenda against you or anyone, Lawrence, very honestly. So there's no reason why we would not have responded to you.
There's no reason
we
why
would not
we
have
can't work
responded
together.
to you any different than anybody else.
Excellent. So what's our next step?
I think
you're looking to find out what happened with those individual businesses. Is that correct?
Are you asking me or Stephanie?
No, I'd say, Lawrence, we don't have that list. Send me a list over or have them reapply, and I can assure you that somebody will contact them. And I think that'd be the first step. I feel like if you're wanting to see how the approach is, let that go. And then you can decide, use your due diligence if it's something you want to move forward with us. But I can't help you if I don't know,
Yeah, and it's difficult to let you know if you guys don't communicate. So let's say that we begin here today, Thursday, March 21st, 2024, 11:26 a.m. None of us have any reason to say we don't know why nothing's going on. And then when I reach out moving forward, it won't take 3 weeks for me to receive a response email, and we'll start to move forward. Now, I want to be clear. My list, I'm going to be representing them. Yes, you can meet all of them, and they will be on the meetings, but I've been given the authority to push this through. So you'll be working with me.
They still have to go through the application. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
beginning of the application will go through emails, and I can assure you that you're not going to be dealing with me or Glenn. You're going to be dealing with the CDFIs that they're going to be referred to.
Wonderful. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Not at this time. I say, Lawrence, let's set something up if you can get it in 2 weeks, and let's touch base.
Let's not set deadlines. Let's not set hard deadlines, because I actually have to do other things for a living. Let's just schedule a next step. So what do you want next?
That is the next step. You get
What's-
them to send something in, and then we'll take it from there.
All right. So you want someone to apply, and then we move from there.
Yes, it has to go through the website, so they
Yes.
have to apply through there.
Okay. And now what I would like to do is bombard you with the final couple of questions. So the CDFI America website, and I think yours says it too, it says that you actually help assess, organize, plan, and implement. But the conversation we had today doesn't really seem like that's exactly what we do. What I'd like to discuss is how we can more accurately describe what it is your office does so that there's not so much confusion. And we don't need to do that today. But I just want to let you guys know where my mind is. And again, at some point, I'm going to want, all of us, we're going to want to see some sort of data. So, I mean, it can be blind or redacted, but we need to know black, white, Mexican, female.
So let me, you just raised two things you'd like to know. As far as the data goes, as I've shared with you earlier, no one is mandated to report anything to us. None of the CDFIs have to report anything to us.
Where do we get these numbers from? Okay, Glenn, because I know
Listen, you're not listening, Lawrence.
No, I understand.
You're not
I understand.
required to.
I understand. And no, I understand.
We
I
ask
understand.
for that. Some
Got
will
it.
report it and other ones do not.
I
But they're
understand
not
that. But Glenn, when I
mandated
go
to
to your
report
website, I see these numbers that I have no way to verify. And
because you're not listening to me, Lawrence.
no, I hear you. I hear
Those
you.
folks, that 24 million were the entities that were willing to report their activity.
We're now
They're
talking
not-
about
they're-
we're talking about what's
they're
on your
not
website.
mandated.
No, we're
But
talking
they're
about what's on
not-
your website now. We're not talking about the 24 million. We're
know,
talking
Lawrence,
about the
Let's
numbers.
keep moving.
that
Let's
you
keep
have on your
moving,
website.
Lawrence. Let's keep moving through your questions.
Oh, that's
Because you're just
essentially
going to
it.
be you're just going to be argumentative today. And
Okay,
I'm not.
now, Glenn, stop. Glenn, listen to me.
This is not
Glenn,
what we do.
Glenn,
Let me tell you, Lawrence, how big is your organization? How big is your group? How big is your group? Tell me when you send that in. I want to know how often you meet. When do you have your community meeting? I want to know as much as I can know about your group. Since you're the representative, I would like to know about your group.
No.
See, okay, but then you're telling us you're representing folks.
You're telling me you're representing. Okay, we're doing Who Shot Johnny now. Let's stop.
No.
Glenn, let's stop.
Let's continue. Send your questions, whatever you need.
You have them, I will
work
send them
with-
again.
We'll work with you to the extent we can within the construct of how we're organized.
Which we need for you guys to make clear, because the
It's
construct of
very
how you're
clear.
organized,
It's very clear what we do.
assess, organize, plan, and implement. No one's bothered to assess anything.
That was the planning stage, Lawrence, when the
That's not what-
organization
that's
was
not what
set
it
up.
is on the website. Okay.
We are very clear on what we do.
No, you're
We've
not.
done a number of presentations to groups. They are very clear what we do in the city.
I'm
of
gonna
Fort Worth.
say just this one thing.
You seem to be the one that's not.
When I talk to all of the presidents, vice presidents at the neighborhood meetings, when I ask about and I have a recording, I have the
I saw the
president of
recording.
the.
I
Say
saw the
again.
recording message. I saw the recording message.
I haven't sent it to you.
We are happy to meet. I am happy to come out and visit with your group. Just
So
as I've done
I have the president of the historic South Side saying that they have absolutely no desire to work with CDFI because they do not believe that you guys do what you do. The reason I recorded it is so that you can see it, and I'll be more than happy to show it to you. And I said, well, and then I said to him, I said, and I'm not mentioning his name here, I said, what would it take for you to support it? And he said, I need to see one verified where they actually got someone funded. I need to see where someone was actually funded via the CD, someone I know.